going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is D2BD Blog Talk Radio, and I'm your host, Layla. Joining me is Humanoid_Savage in a few. Everyone is tuning in tonight. Tonight's show is very serious. It's awareness against the youth today. To all the internationals that are listening in, shout out to all the people in the USA, whatever country you might be in, you're tuning into our show, shout out to you, and thank you for tuning in to D2BD Radio. Of course, shout out to D2BD team. Yes. A crisis hotline. For those of you who are going through something, or you need a pep talk, or you need to make a quick decision and you need help in doing that, 24-hour service. You guys can call a number. It's 24-hour service. And if you can see on the screen, 312-361-3626. And fine. And whatever situation you're going through, whatever moment it is, you want to share something, you want to be cheered up, just call the number. You know, you're going to get some great help, you know. Just hit it up. And my Twitter is LAYLA_D2BD. That's Layla_D2BD. And you guys can show on the ball, all right? I'm going to let Humanoid_Savage introduce the topic for tonight's show. And
well, tonight's topic is about STDs among the youth, and it's basically between these two boys at my school that were talking about sex. They were talking about how they don't ever use condoms, don't like condoms at all. So I heard this, and I butt into their conversation, and I asked them, well, what if you catch an STD? Well, their response was like, this is what their exact response was. The same thing that I will always do. I will get tested, and if I have something, I'll just get rid of it. Wow. So I asked them, I'm like, well, what about, like, an STD that you can't get rid of, like AIDS? Like, what would you do then? And then their response was that, nah, man, I don't mess with people like that. And I'm just like, in disbelief, I'm just like, does appearance play a role in who has STDs or AIDS or not? I mean, so then my next question was, well, what about if you get the girl pregnant? Like, what would happen then? Like, you don't have a job, you can't support her nor the baby. And their response was that, well, if a girl gets pregnant, then they don't want nothing to do with the baby if she keeps it. He doesn't want nothing to do with it, doesn't want to see it, is not going to support her. And he says if she gets an abortion, he won't pay for it and don't care, like, what are the outcomes of her and her baby. And I was just thinking to myself, I was like, wow, like, this is very ignorant. And obviously the youth, I'm not saying all the youth, but some of the youth today don't have any respect for themselves, nor do they have respect for women, and women don't really have respect for themselves, using their bodies to get money, like, for having children. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this all plays a role in them not getting properly educated about sex and using protection, or they just don't care about themselves. And I guess it plays into insecurities, or, you know what I'm saying,
well,
Layla?
Yes, I agree with everything you said. Now, in reference to the kid, whatever, at your school, that thought that you know, if they get something, they can just cure it. You know, that's right. But, like, you have some STDs such as herpes and, you know, AIDS. Those are uncurable. And now they have medicine to, you know, maintain, but you can't hear those types of things. And it's tough because with young people, intercourse is a big deal. And I know with I'm speaking from a woman's point of view, a girl's point of view. We get easily pressured, you know, we get easily pressured because we it's like we like the guy so much that we're going to just give in to whatever it is that they're saying. And we're thinking that, you know, it's going to get us closer to the guy, or it's going to make our relationship closer, we're going to bond. But, you know, it's a tough situation because I've been at that level where it's like I wanted to use protection, but the person didn't want to use protection, or I didn't care enough to use protection because I like this person so much. So it's tough. So it's like, how do young people, really enforce that? Like how?
Well, I mean, it's all into how they want to take care of themselves. If you want to have sexual intercourse with this guy, you enforce him to use protection and make sure you use the protection correctly, like inserting the condom on correctly or invest into buying female condoms. And yes, they do have female condoms, and they're if you guys, there's actually a tutorial online how to, put it like in the girl. I'm not going to get into too much details, but there is tutorials online on how to use them, and there's tutorials online how to properly insert a condom. I know this sounds silly, but I mean, would you rather look at something silly or do you want to catch like an STD or get pregnant, or you want to like take that chance? I mean, don't be shy. If you're going to have sex, don't be shy about protecting yourself. If you're going to have sex, and you should protect yourself. But if you're in a relationship and you see this relationship going somewhere, maybe you guys want to get married someday and you guys want to have kids. Well, before you guys get serious and start having sex without condoms, you guys should both, as a couple, go down to the health clinics and get tested before you guys start having sex. That's my opinion.
You know what? Right enough, you're right. We really should care enough to get tested. But I honestly think that, males don't want to get tested. Men do not want to get tested, and they're the hard-headed, stubborn ones, because a girl can go get tested and get cured. The guy hasn't went to get cured, so it's like he's going to continue on because he doesn't want to go get cured. And it's just, if men cared as much as, cared as much about themselves if men cared about themselves as much, I think women, everything else will fall in line, because it's kind of like whatever the man does, the woman would kind of follow along. So if the man makes a decision, then the woman will follow along with the decision that he makes. So I think men is a step up.
I mean, that plays a role. That goes back to having respect for yourself and having respect for other people when you're about to have sex. I mean, if a guy doesn't respect you, then the woman, or actually just vice versa, actually, a woman or man, if they're not respecting you, and, I mean, you're not having respect for yourself if you're just going to let somebody walk all over you like that. That's my opinion.
I agree.
And I got a tweet from Karen's Minaj. She says, I agree, men don't respect women as much as they should, and when it comes to sexual intercourse, it's sick. And that's Karen's Minaj. Shout out to him.
When it comes to intercourse, I think that men are very selfish. They don't understand that for us women, it's a lot that's involved. It's a lot there that's involved. And men, to them, it's like a sporting event. It's like, I play basketball, or I just went to hang out with my boys. It's like, they treat it that way. And
yeah, like they treat as having an STD as just like, as I said, it's like a common cold. Like, oh, I need to go get it cleared up. No, you can't just get it cleared up, because if you catch something that you can't get rid of, then that's what you're going to die from. If you get AIDS, they do have pills to help prevent, like outbreaks and extend your life a little bit longer, but you're still going to be dying from AIDS, and AIDS, what it does, it affects your immune system. So you get sick a lot easier, and there's other health problems that can fall into that because your immune system is being attacked. So
I just think that sometimes women have to be men. That's why you get. I think this is where you get a toll where you're getting women who are actually playing the position of a man, and then you're getting so many people who are dating the same sex because of what the other sex is lacking to produce, I guess. I guess those inner feelings, sometimes I'm confused. The way God made men, I often question God, you know. Like, did you have to make men so harsh, so cruel, so thick-headed? You know, it's like sometimes men, I feel like men have no feelings. Men have no emotion. And it's like a blank wall. It's like, God, how did you create these people? It's like, what were you thinking when you created these men? It's like, gosh, they are,
well,
you know,
in
thick-headed.
response, yeah, well, in response to that, I actually have like another story about my friend who I'm going to keep her identity secret. I'm not going to say her name, but yes, it is a woman. Well, not a woman, I guess you could say an adolescent. She's still a teenager. She just turned 18. Well, actually, yes, she would be an adult. Okay. Well, I'm just going to say our conversation that we had in the past. So, yeah, I used to have a friend. And I sat her down one day because she was very sexually active. She was a little promiscuous. I'm not trying to put her on blast or nothing, but she was a little bit, promiscuous. So I asked her, I just sat her down one day and I said, blank, I'm concerned about you and I want to know if you're using protection. And I told her in advance, I said, if you don't feel comfortable talking to me about this, then you don't have to talk to me about it. But as a friend, I am concerned about you, and I want to know if you're using protection. Well, her response to me was that I don't need to use protection because I don't have sex with people who have AIDS or HIV or an STD.
Your friend, wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to get on her in a minute. Go ahead.
So in response, I'm like, blank. I'm just gonna call her blank. I'm like, blank. Well, I mean, how can you tell when a person has AIDS or an HIV or STD, whatever? How can you tell? Appearance means nothing.
And what did they say? I want to hear. What did they say?
She was just like, well, I know they don't have it. Like, she was beating around the bush around what I just told her. And It was just like, it amazed me. I'm like, but how can you think this way? And I'm like, and she's like, well, I don't want to talk about it anymore. So, I backed off. I didn't want to make her feel uncomfortable anymore. But I think I somewhat, made her realize a little bit, because after that she started using, she told me about it. And like a week later,
well, she sounded ridiculous. She sounded very ridiculous. Yeah. I don't sleep with people that have AIDS. You don't know who has AIDS. People with AIDS don't have an AIDS sign on their forehead. That's the thing about it. You never know. So she caught herself, and I think that she realized how stupid she sounded.
Well,
she didn't want to talk about it anymore because she was looking dumber.
A week later, she told me that she is using protection now. So maybe I kind of, did a little click in her head.
Yeah, you hit a nail there. That's ridiculous. So we have to go to
that's what kind of friend I am, though. Like, I like to, I don't want to invade your personal life or anything, but if I see something and I think you should, like, fix it, like, I'll tell you, but then I will back off if you want me to back off. That's just, like, what kind of friend I'm like.
That's a good friend. Tell you the truth and then back off. All right, we have to go on a commercial. Let me continue this. And now you have some facts for us, right? Some facts?
Yes, I do have some facts.
Okay, we'll do that a little later. All right, we're going to go on a commercial. We're going to continue this. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.
Baby, when we first met, I never felt something so strong. You were like my lover and my best friend, all wrapped in one with a ribbon on it. And all of a sudden, when there, I didn't know how to